I've got the 3 goose eggs that I took today. I'm in here in the egg room, so I'll show you. I knew that they're brand new. I kind of am really thinking that that other goose, that white one, is a hen. So this is kind of like, you know, like in photography when you're in high school. In our egg room, this is the egg room, I have the lights off now, but in the egg room, I'm gonna make everyone dizzy, is this cool thing that the farmer put in to be able to candle eggs. So you just turn the lights off. This is pretty bright, but you can actually turn the light off if you want to, but you just kind of come behind the curtain, if you will, and that's a candle. So you can see that there is no start of a gosling in there, nothing. So see actually that dark spot right there? I would have to question that. So not this dark spot, that's the yolk, but see that right there? And watch when I move it. See it? That could possibly be the start of an embryo, and I can definitely crack it open and we'll see. So we'll set this one over here. Let's get another one. Nada. Nothing at all. Sometimes you'll get it's called a meat spot, a blood spot in an egg, chicken egg, any egg, and it's normal, completely normal. Everyone has gotten them. Store-bought eggs, farm fresh eggs, it doesn't really matter. Ooh, so this one isn't as new. Let's go the other direction. What do we have here? I think that it's a blood ring. That this stopped developing, and I might be wrong. That might be it right there. So goose eggs are way more difficult. Oh, there's right there. There's the start of the embryo right here. Goose eggs are way harder to candle than a chicken egg. It goes chicken, then it's more difficult for a duck's egg, and then a goose egg is so strong. So you're looking through so many layers here. So regardless, I'm gonna crack these open and we're going to see what is the contents inside, see how accurate that I am by candling. Obviously, I am not a professional. These are the eggs that I took from the nest, and so let's go ahead and candle those next. I'm gonna separate these 3 that we just did, just for fun, to be able to know for sure what was what. So we'll set them right here, and then let's see what we got. If you don't like stuff like this and you're just like, I can't join you in geeking out about this, just hit forward. If you ever want to see something and want to freeze the frame, if you're new to watching stories, you just hold your finger over it. So hold your finger over it, and it'll freeze it for you. And then of course, pressing left goes back and right to the right goes forward. So this is where you learn so much, right? Because I would like to be correct, because that would give me confidence that I know what I'm talking about, but I'm often incorrect in things like this. And so not entirely incorrect, but you know, come across something that I'm not familiar with. So it's a learning lesson completely. So here is the for sure start of something. I can see it in here, but see how hard it gets to candle when the egg is filthy poop. So let's turn the light on. See how dirty that egg is? It's really difficult to get to see for sure. I'm being lazy. I looked in here like, okay, what could I crack a couple of these goose eggs on? And I don't really have anything, so I have this cellophane in here from wrapping the pull packs, so I'm gonna use that. So let's see how well I can do this. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I'm just gonna make a little counter here. These goose egg, very hard. So this is one of the ones that I just candled. Pretty crackaroozy. Let's see see what we got in here. So thick, so strong. So I'll take a picture of it for you guys. Super crazy. The membrane, there's your air sac. Remember how we were looking through there and there's that little pouch right there? It's like a parachute kind of in there. That was our air sac. So there's our air sac. So let's see what we got. Nothing. We don't got nothing. It kind of looks like, okay, wait, what's this? That's nothing. So this egg was not fertilized. I saw kind of a little bit of a dimple right here, but I'm gonna say no. Again, remember how dirty it is? It's a really good example of how old it is. And then this is the membrane, kind of like for a fetus has, I cannot think, why am I drawing a blank right now? The uterus, and it's going to live inside of this safe little area. Well, this is the membrane that separates it. So when the chick pips, it actually has to take its tooth. It has a little tooth on its beak that falls off usually within like 3 days. The tip in it, and it pips, and it works its way through this shell. And then another thing, if you don't know, is what happens to all this if this was a fertilized egg and this embryo were to grow. What happens here too? And does it have an umbilical cord? Yes, it does. It eats all this yolk. So this is what gives all the nourishment to the chick as it's growing. And then when it comes out, that's why a chick does not need to eat for up to 3 days. I always like to give my chicks food and water access, but they don't have to eat because they've absorbed all of this. Pretty snazzy. So I said I was going to do one of the 3 that I said were new. And I don't expect there to be anything besides a egg in here. So this is fertilized. Isn't that just crazy? And then there's your air sac again. Can you see that bubble in there? It's really hard to see, but I can kind of pick it and pull it. So there's that air sac. So rad. It's just fascinating to me. So I can just show you fertilized, but has to have the right temperature, the right humidity, just like an incubator. When a bird hatches a clutch, they have to have all those things. So like I was seeing in the video, I had messages about, what do you mean, what can go wrong? Well, if several things can go wrong, but just starting with, if the hen doesn't stay on her clutch or leaves it for too long, so there's periods that they have to have humidity. Then there's a lockdown, the 3 days before any waterfowl or chick hatches, there's a lockdown. So the hen does not get off of the clutch for 3 days. Pretty crazy. I'm gonna do more of these. My saran wrap kind of was cool. Thought that was kind of a lazy effort on my part, but I told you guys by looking down there through the flashlight, which is less than ideal, that I definitely saw a blood ring or a start of a baby growing. And so, nope, not this one. Okay, I realized that I don't have to throw it away every time. I'm gonna salvage it. So here's another one. This one was for sure some of the original. So we'll see. This one's way harder. Okay, so this one looks like it started developing. Completely different. It's harder to open. The yolk is old. It doesn't stink, but there's gonna be something different in here that we're gonna find for sure. So something went wrong. I'm gonna assume bacteria. Bacteria got inside of this egg. I'll turn you guys around. So this was the contents. Pretty crazy, huh? And look at that. That's where it started and it died. So I shouldn't say it died. It stopped the process. And so there's no blood vein, but I'm gonna get this everywhere. But very interesting. So the shell is porous, and obviously there are so many factors of things that can happen. So that's what happened here. I'm gonna assume is bacteria somehow got into the egg and contaminated it. Okay, sorry for all my sniffling. It is so cold. So we're gonna do one of these really quick. I will bleach and sanitize. This is actually just vinegar and water for right now, but I will sanitize after all of this stuff. So let's do another one. I'll blink in between these or two. So this one was for sure older. I feel like the closer I bring everything, the harder it is to see. Just didn't start. So completely normal, healthy. I'm going to use my bucket and just save my saran wrap here and slide it. Okay, here's another one. One has to have the ring. Ooh, that one is completely different too. Nope. And I can just see in here, so I'm not even gonna bother wasting my little workstation. Here's another one. Have you ever eaten a goose egg? I have not. So same sort of deal. This one didn't fall apart, but got bacteria in it. So that one got bacteria in it. We're gonna slide this over and we will dispose of it. Okay, next one. So this one has blood in it. And this one started developing, and then the embryo, for whatever reason, was compromised. So this one's really runny, so it's leaking, but I'll turn you guys around. So this is that ring. They call it the ring of death. You can actually see the embryo. You can see its eye right there. So here's the little embryo of the gosling. And something happened, and when you see that red ring inside when you're candling, that's the ring of death right here. So it's probably, I'm gonna guesstimate about day 9 to 12 here, and I'll check online and see if I'm accurate. Okay, so we're gonna clean this one off. Some people don't care, they just discard it. I'm at the point now, I shouldn't say never, I don't do this regularly because I've done it enough times because I am curious and I want to learn and I want to understand the cycle of life and I want to better be able to be informed. And so I think it's fascinating to be informed. So an older one, and okay, I'm not even gonna waste it. Like I said, the mess, it is not fertilized. Okay, we only have one more of the real older one. And I'm gonna guess this one is not fertilized either. Nope, not fertilized. So we've got these ones, the newer ones. Same sort of thing. I wish there was someone here to hold. Okay, this one's interesting. And I see that because instantly it looks differently. So let me bring you with me here. See how light it is in color? It's not red. There's no orange, but you just know that the protein in this egg is breaking down. So I'm gonna discard some of it. Oh, this one's really cool. So you get to see how everything started, and I'm going to assume that this is a perfectly healthy embryo. That simply, how I described that before, is that everyone is at a different stage, and that's why I think there's 2 hens laying in this clutch. And when a hen lays her clutch, she lays and lays and lays, and then she stops. She stops laying and she sits on her clutch and she manages her clutch. But when you have something like this, this shows me that this goose is sitting on her clutch, and then someone else is coming laying an egg. She's sitting on the entire clutch, and they're about 2.5 weeks apart. Before you panic or feel like this is so devastating that I have taken this egg from the clutch and it has died, not here today on the table, but yesterday when it had no heat. It has to be under heat or it stops growing and living and thriving. And so when that all happened, just to be clear, what would have happened would be much, in my mind, much sadder than this stage of life. This gosling, if it was successful, would have gotten to be about 24 days into the egg. And then when all the goslings start hatching, if they will, then the mother tends to her gosling. She will sit for a day or 2 extra, but she will not sit for 5 or 6 days and do a 3-day lockdown. And so this gosling would have died inevitably because the mother will tend to the live gosling. So it's a strategy thing when you have chickens, waterfowl, anything, that you really have to manage that and watch it. So now I'll move the camera around and show you. This is it. Perfect, literally a perfect scenario. You want to see this webbing of veins. You can see the eye of the gosling, that little black circle, and it is growing and thriving. So the embryo starts here and then it continues growing and taking up more of the space. So it is disappointing that that happened. If you watched my first video, you'll hear me say on there that I could leave some of them or take them because put them in the incubator, and I kept 3 down there, and one, obviously there was 4 of them. So the reason that that is all liquid and that sac is falling apart is because it wasn't kept at the right temperature, and everything is breaking down and essentially like kind of decomposing, I guess you'd say. So isn't that interesting? This might be where people say, I never want to watch one of Bobby Ray's videos again. But it is a fact of life. There are tons of reasons that these things happen. This particular reason is just, I don't know, kind of a fact of life. I've had beautiful chicks, ducklings hatch. I've never hatched goslings, and I've had them be perfectly healthy and then they get sick, or a predator gets them, or just something, or they have like a really lame mom. That's just a fact of life, unfortunately. So we've got 3 more to go. I have you like under this shelf, so it's way annoying, but it's the only way I can fit you in here. So I'm gonna say this one is literally just a perfect, a perfect egg. And why am I saying that? If you're tracking me, it's because there was nothing to compromise it. Okay, this is a fertilized egg. I'm gonna try to keep, the saran wrap is probably like 40 cents, and I'm like doing all these things to try to save my saran wrap. Don't judge me, please don't judge me. Oh, I have to turn. So fertilized. See that? That's a fertilized egg. Last one. Last one. And fertilized. So same thing that I just showed you guys, if you can see it. It's kind of hard to see, but fertilized. So it's good to pull these out. And why do we pull them? Someone might say, well, why don't you just let nature take its course? You know, this and that. Well, a couple things. So if a couple of these are fertilized and we have 3, 4, 5 hatch dates, then we know ultimately the ones that are at the head of the race are going to hatch and get the mother's attention. The other ones are going to ultimately die, right? Second thing is that when you have a let's just call it debunked. A debunked egg, that's taking up space in your clutch. That's like a percentage of compromising the other healthy, viable chicks in your clutch. And so I had shared that on my first video, that when the goose is, let's say, is this big, and if her clutch is this big, common sense tells us that she's not going to heat it, right? Like the center is going to be warmer, it's going to get cooler all the way out. So we want to eliminate all of those duds from a chicken's clutch. Anyone, if you're letting a hen go broody, any type, waterfowl or chicken, you want to eliminate. That's why you candle. You candle for the excitement too, like what's going on? Am I going to get babies or whatever? But you also assist your moms. Give them the opportunity to have a really healthy, thriving clutch. Also, if let's say you have a clutch of 10, let's say chickens, and there's 10 eggs under her, and you candle them, and you know, like, well, that's her perfect little clutch and she's happy, but 8 of them are viable, the other 2 aren't. Let's say the 8 hatch, she will wait. Sometimes a hen is really smart, mature. She'll literally roll out of that egg, or she will peck it open and try to assist it. Also, chicks can, they make their beeping in there so the mom can actually hear them. They're already communicating. That's how, if you, not to geek out, if you put, I've done it myself and seen it. Let's say you had 3 broody hens, and they all have babies, and you take one hen and you set it with the other babies. I didn't literally do it like that, but we had a turkey startle everyone, so they all ran around. And you'll watch mothers literally go find their babies. And how do they do that? Because they recognize each other's sound by the baby being in the egg and by the mom talking to them. So isn't that kind of cool? So you're also just assisting her stress load and everything else. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you're not grossed out. And if you are grossed out, don't forget, you can always not watch or forward through. And if you are a geek out like me, you can always go left and go back and watch again, or hold your finger or screenshot it, all the things. So hope you enjoyed.